Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we are diving deep into something absolutely critical in Google Ads, audience segments. If you've ever had that nagging feeling that you're just throwing your ad budget into the wind, hoping it lands on the right people, well, this one's for you.
I mean, it's the ultimate question for any advertiser, right? Are your ads actually reaching the right people? You can have the best product, the most clever ad in the world, but if it's not getting in front of the people who care, it's just noise. So how do you stop shouting into the void and start having real conversations?
Well, the answer is all about mastering audience segments. Seriously, the best way to think about them is like pre-sorted buckets of potential customers. Google does the heavy lifting, grouping people based on their interests, their behaviors, what they're actively looking to buy, and even if they've checked you out before. The whole goal? To get the right ad to the right person at exactly the right time. All right, so let's kick things off at the very top of the funnel. This is all about casting a wide net, reaching new people, building that initial brand awareness. These folks might not be ready to buy right now, but you want to get on their radar.
And this is where affinity segments really shine. Think of it like this. You're casting a wide net, but it's a smart net. You're not just blasting your ad to everyone. Instead, you're targeting people based on their long-term interests and lifestyle. So if you're selling gym equipment, you target the health and fitness enthusiast segment. Simple as that. They might not be in the market for a treadmill today, but you're planting that seed.
And another great tool for this top-of-funnel stage is detailed demographics. This lets you layer in some key life details, like targeting homeowners, students, or parents. It's just another way to keep that wide net relevant. Okay, so now let's move a little further down the funnel. We're no longer talking about just casual interest. We're talking about active shoppers, people who are actually thinking about making a purchase.
And for these folks, we have in-market segments. And honestly, this is where things get really exciting. Google is smart enough to identify people who are actively researching and comparing products just like yours. So if you sell running shoes, you can target people who are literally in the market for running shoes right now. It's incredibly powerful. Oh, and you can't forget about life events. These are absolute gold mines. Why? Because big life changes almost always lead to big purchases. Think about it. If you sell furniture, targeting people who have recently moved, that's a home run. You're catching them at the exact moment they need you.
Okay, so this next point is absolutely crucial, so listen up. Affinity versus in-market. They might sound kind of similar, but they are worlds apart. It boils down to this. Affinity targets long-term interests. In-market targets immediate purchase intent. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. Look at the intent. For affinity, it's pretty low. For in-market, it's sky high. That puts them at totally different stages of the journey. Awareness versus purchase. And the example says it all, right? Liking fitness, that's an interest. That's affinity. Actually searching buy dumbbells, that's intent. That's in market.
So if you take away just one thing from this whole section, let it be this simple phrase. Affinity equals interest. In-market equals purchase intent. Burn that into your brain. It's that simple. All right, now we're heading to the bottom of the funnel. This is where you find your most powerful, most valuable audiences. These are the people who are ready to pull the trigger, either because they already know and trust you, or because they're a perfect custom-built match. And this brings us to your data segments, which, you probably know this as remarketing. This is so powerful. We're talking about targeting people who have already raised their hand and shown interest. They've been to your website, they've used your app, maybe they're on your customer list. Think about it. Someone visits a product page but doesn't buy. You can serve them an ad to bring them back. It is a straight-up conversion machine. But a quick warning, you have to be careful not to overdo it. Seeing the same ad everywhere, that causes ad fatigue. The goal is to remind, not to annoy.
But what if you need to get even more granular, like super specific? That's where custom segments come into play. This is so cool. You can literally build your perfect customer from the ground up. You tell Google, hey, find me people who are searching for these keywords, visiting these specific websites, or using these apps. Look at the B2B example for a steel company. You can target people searching iron rod's price and people who visit your competitors' websites. It's like building a laser-focused audience just for you.
And there are a couple more, let's call them secret weapons in your toolbox. First, lookalike segments. You just upload your list of existing customers and poof, Google goes out and finds new people who are just like them. It's amazing for scaling. And then there's Google Engaged Audiences, which lets you retarget people who've already interacted with your brand on places like YouTube or Search. Super handy.
Okay, I know that was a lot of different segments to throw at you. So the big question is, how do you actually put it all together? Well, let's build a simple, effective game plan right now.
Think of this chart right here as your ultimate cheat sheet. It's super straightforward. If your goal is brand awareness, you're going to use affinity segments. Trying to drive sales today? That's a job for in-market. Need to bring back past visitors? You're using your data. And for those really specific niche audiences, you build a custom segment. See, it's all about matching the tool to the job.
And here's how it all comes together in a beautiful, simple funnel strategy. You start at the top, reaching a brand new cold audience with affinity segments. Then, in the middle, you capture those interested shoppers with in-market. And finally, at the bottom, you close the deal by bringing back your past visitors with remarketing. You see what's happening? You're not just throwing ads out there, you're actually guiding people on a customer journey.
Okay, and before we wrap up, there's a really important heads up we need to talk about. The whole world of digital privacy is changing fast. Things like iOS 14 and other updates are making user tracking, especially for things like remarketing, a lot trickier. Now, Google's not sitting still. They're using a ton of AI and data modeling to fill in those gaps, but you just need to know that this whole landscape is very much in motion.
And that brings us to a final, pretty big question for you to chew on. As all this third-party tracking starts to disappear, what does that mean? It means the data you own, your first-party data, like your website visitors and your email list, becomes insanely valuable. It becomes your superpower. So the question is, as these rules keep evolving, which audience is going to be the most important for you to understand and own? It's a big one to think about. Thanks for tuning in.